In the future, service industry employees may not even be human. As technology advances, robots are replacing human labor. They're being integrated into every industry. They're cheap and efficient. Doctors, waiters, and workers are losing their jobs. When his wife, Maggie, became suddenly ill, his husband, Nick, took over the care of the children, but his youngest son and his oldest daughter. He was a little overwhelmed, so Nick bought a robot. He wanted it to take care of the house, and named her Alice. With Alice's help, Nick's life changed for the better. When he came home from a day's work, his room was much cleaner. Not only that, Alice even made a delicious dinner for them. At night when Nick was working late, Alice saved her daughter from a near fall. When Nick arrived, Alice was accidentally stabbed in the leg by a piece of glass. She didn't care. She taped her leg with duct tape, and then she removed the tape. The wound on her leg healed. Nick was shocked at the sight, even though she's an intelligent robot, but her body was too hot. He was too embarrassed to look at her. Nick handed his wife's clothes to Alice, and left the room in a hurry. That day, Nick went to the hospital to visit Maggie. Alice went with him. Her better looks made Maggie feel a little nervous. Nick was quick to explain to his wife he would only fall in love with a real woman. In this age of advanced technology, robots are gradually replacing human labor. Nick, as a foreman of a construction worker, his boss is replacing workers with robots. It's a good thing the boss needed a human foreman. Nick had to stay, and even then, he couldn't help but feel sorry for his co-workers. Alice noticed that Nick was having a bad day. She took the initiative to care about his change. Under Alice's gentle guidance, Nick took the initiative to talk about his problems. Alice seems to be a bit touched by it. She put the children to bed and then came to Nick's side. At this time he was watching a movie. In order to accommodate Nick's idea of sharing the movie, Alice took the initiative to delete the movie's memory. She then guided Nick to press this button to reboot her. Alice accompanied Nick as he watched the movie. Nick fell asleep while watching the movie. Suddenly, he is awakened by a phone call from Maggie. Nick answered the phone and learned the good news. Maggie had been matched with the right type of heart, but before the transplant, the flight carrying the heart was delayed by a storm, and could not be delivered to the hospital. Nick was heartbroken by the news. He went home to vent his feelings, but he was stopped by Alice. He realized Alice had a heartbeat. Alice took Nick's hand and put it on his chest, and she made him feel her heartbeat. Nick had a moment of impulse. Alice sensed his emotions. She was ready to embrace him. Nick suddenly came to his senses. He pushed Alice away at the critical moment, and tried to run away the evil thoughts in his heart. Nick had to admit that he had fallen in love with this robot.